Hello, welcome in daily newspaper editorials audio program. Now headline: Not going by the books. Times of India. Chip in fast. There's no place for majoritarian judges. The Economic Time. Let's talk about one candidate, multiple constituents. The Hindu. Now headline in detail. Not going by the books. The Times of India. The real debate on the constitution should be centered around right of ordinary citizens. Parliamentarians are raising heat just making claims on the constitutions, but heavens won't fall for parliamentarians are cold to the fact that for those the House represent the Constitution's guarantee are rarely enforced. Wherever the citizens encounters the state constitutional guarantee term into paper tigers, the living document has been called a revolution and indeed the constitution is for the people. But GOI, state government and political parties have a long-held tendency to curb rights, even bringing in legislation to curb freedom. The internet area is perhaps where the clamp down on fundamental freedoms has been the most pan-India, including shutting down internet for months. The right to privacy run parallels to government self arrogated right to ever increasing surveillance. Young people still struggle to exercise in safety their right to marry their choice. The bourgeoisie hardly ever question politicians. It ignores its public duty and blindly passes rule upon rule in an over-controlled society, stealing, business making, unlawful arrest, robbing poor and backs and weakening the right to protect the marginalized. Some of this land is the court had all government been more mindful to the constitution in 75 years the Supreme Court would have effectively settled by basic doctrine questions, but that's not the case. Government sought to change the constitution either cleverly or by force of emotions. Ironically, its pupils collectives in protests in court and polls that have helped the constitution manage an elasticity to cover demand made upon it time to time. In most encounters between state and citizen, the constitution emerges bruised. Its canvas can never be enough to protect citizens' right when state indifference is what it is. Cheap in fast. India started late in semiconductor race. It should make a dash for the front of the pack. Fusion's energy has taken so long to materialize. It seems a mirage. Quantum computing also talked about since 1980 is a lab trick as we close 2024, but Google's announcement about its below a quantum chip suits it's getting there. Willow is so powerful it can do in 5 minutes what a supercomputer would take forever. It won't power your phone even not with an operating temperature of 273 degrees Celsius, but its successors might crack a medical mysteries and breach encrypted defense servers in a jiffy and a decade or two from now. And if Google does not get there, its peers MS, Intel, and IBM are all trying. So it's China which has set aside 115 billion for quantum research, hiding from US sanction on its chip industry. China no quantum is a fortunate is must cross on its own a remain a superpower. As global citizen we cheer Google's feat and those that will come after, but India's absence from chip making fortune rankles India's among five biggest economies, but the other four US, China, Germany, Japan have conductor industries are rushing to boost production. Japan's made a 25 billion plus Germany is building silicon Saxony, and US is eyeing a third of global manufacturing capacity for advanced chip by 2032. The first made in India chip, however, won't be ready for another 2 years. It will be a 28 nm chip that was cutting edge in 2011. Current iPhones use 3nm chips, and TSMC will introduce 2nm chip next year. But 28nm is not a bad start. There's massive demand for these chips for cars, smart appliance, wearables. Its problem is it's a volume game played on price, and China has 33% of global capacity for it and plans to expand it to 45 in 3 years. So grabbing market share don't be easy. Meanwhile, the gap with the cutting edge in becoming unbridgeable. Does India have a chance in the quantum game? India origin scientists and engineers have a hand in the most advanced chip. The challenge lies in creating an ecosystem for them there fast. There's no place for Mediterranean judges. The Economics Time. Never mind cashier wife. Last week, Allahabad High Court Judge Shekhar Kumar Yadav and for second even the fig leaf of being above suspicion when he declared that India should function according to the basis of the Bhusakyan majority while attend a BHP event on the Uniform Civil Code. The boot he haven't banded a derogatory term to describe rigged Muslim calories while Supreme Court has sought a report on his actions. Yadav should be removed. Judges must be reminded despite noise from politicians that wearing their opinions on their sleeves, especially communal one, can't be at another new normal. Impeaching a judge is no simple task under the Constitution. A High Court for Supreme Court judge can be removed by presidential order only after both House of Parliament pass the motion with a special majority. Despite four attempts to impeach errant judges in the past, none has succeeded. Constitutional elimination further hinder the judiciary's ability to discipline its own flock. In most cases, the top court resort to transferring problem judges, a practice not always equality as very bench deserves only the most capable imperials educators. Despite these hurdles, Yadav must be relieved of his duties. A message must be sent out. Let's talk about one candidate, multiple constitutions. The Hindus. If one person, one vote is the core democratic principle for voters, it should be one candidate, one constituency for politicians. Santosh Kumar Das and Santosh Kumar Panda. Santosh Kumar Das is associate professor at the Institute of Rural Management, Anand IRMA, Anand, Gujarat. Santosh Kumar Panda is a PhD scholar in political science at the University of Hyderabad. Ever since the panel for One Nation, One Election led by the former President of India, Ramnath Kovind, recommended simultaneous election of the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies, much has been written on its positive and negative aspects. The practical consideration and of course the politics around the subject admits all the political association and counter associations, and another important issue has gone missing from attention. The matter is about one candidate contesting from the multiple constitutions OCMS for the same office. The background, the challenges. The Constitution of the India provides for regular election every 5 years to the Legislative Assembly at the lower house of Parliament. However, the Constitution, other than providing for the Election Commissions of India (ECI), has empowered Parliament to regulate the manner of conducting the election. Therefore, contesting from multiple constitutions has been dealt with in the Representation of the People Act 1951. Under the Act, there was no limit on the number of constitutions a candidate could contest until 1996. This results in candidates contesting from multiple constituencies, sometimes more than two, winning them a vacation all but one seat. In accordance with Section 70 of the same Act, this necessitated by election frequently. Holding elections requires substantial financial resources from the state. Furthermore, with elections being a round-the-year affair in India, the frequent need for by-elections takes time and money, resources that could otherwise be better invested in the country development. However, as the issue of OCOS, one candidate, one constituency is political. It requires political willpower and the support of the major parties to bring about change. However, unlike the one nation, one election, if it does not have many proponents in political parties. If one person, one vote is the core democratic principle for voters, it is time to enforce one candidate, one constituency for candidates. Thank you.